Good morning. It's day 4 in Kentucky, and due east of me, I've got a soybean field, and there's a strip of woods between these two soybean fields because due north of me, I've got another soybean field. These deer should come between this pinch point and spread out and start working their way up to the hillside there, which would be due west of me, and bed on the hill, I'm assuming. So far I've had 3 does come due south, walking this strip from around the edge of the soybean field that's east of me. And I had one deer come off the side of that ridge down to the bottom. Basically, they heard me walk in here and snorted, and I snorted back at them and got them confused, and all the deer come down here to see who I was. All except for the buck, who apparently stayed on that ridge. And after everything settled down and the does started going on about their way, one doe walked back up the ridge, and that buck grunted so stinking loud and low. I've never heard a buck grunt that cotton picking low before. But he grunted at her and he chased her around. And right now, I guess they're up on the ridge somewhere, possibly getting ready to bed down. Who knows? It's still early. They may be some more deer come through here. Mike was sitting in here a little bit further behind me and had a 140 class come in, and he thought about shooting it, but he's actually let it walk. He's killed a lot bigger deer than I have. A 140 comes by me, it's going to be hard for me to pass up. But I tell you what, I guess I'm in a good spot. There's a lot of rugs around here, and I know you can't tell, but right there, ground is matted out where a deer's been laying down, so they must feel pretty comfortable in between all these fields in this woodlot, or they wouldn't just lay down. The wind is really tricky. The deer coming through going to be at a quartered wind, so maybe it'll happen. I snort wheezed at that buck, trying to get his attention, and he made some kind of weird noise I ain't never heard a deer make before. I don't even know how to explain it, but he apparently is letting me know he's boss. Probably that 140. But there are bigger deer in here. The rugs on these trees are shoulder high, and there's just indicator of a giant buck. Big, big tracks. Maybe he'll show. Wish me luck.
A fair amount of time went by before I saw another deer. And when this doe slipped in there, I actually thought she might bed down. There's another deer with her, kind of getting nervous. that's her there. Not really sure what made her nervous. I hadn't walked over there. Don't think she's smelling me, but something's kind of got her attention, got her all upset. They both hung around quite a while before they finally just eased off slowly. I was kind of wondering if maybe they smelt that buck that was in there earlier. You can't really tell much in this video, but I slowed it down just a little bit. Maybe you can catch glimpses of his rack going through the trees. He's a pretty decent buck. I started not to show this video, but I figure since I mentioned it, I will.
Well, I ain't even got away from the truck yet. Looking across this soybean field, I got a doe standing right out in the middle of it. Very hard to hold this little camera steady when you can't even see in the viewfinder. Anyway, there's 3 deer down there. Maybe 4. Some of them are in the wood line. They don't even know I'm in the world. That's a little over 100 yards away. And I have literally not even hardly left the truck.
I left them deer. I wanted to go to a different soybean field. This bean field didn't do real well, but the deer seemed to be feeding in it anyway. And I'm actually set up on the edge of this field in an acorn tree that's dropping red oaks. So I thought, well, if any deer is feeding out along this field, they'll work this wood line. Maybe they'll come over under the tree and eat a few red oaks. And I eventually got a mama and 2 fawns that came over, and she's actually smelling my ground scent right there and going to track me all the way to the tree. I made a mock scrape right under the tree just for giggles and grins, see how it would affect the deer and how they would react to it, and got some pretty decent footage, I think, of how at least one doe reacted to it. These deer in these fields, they spend a lot of time looking around at all the field edges to see what other deer might come in. This doe is still curious about my scent. She's licking her nose, sniffing, checking it out. She doesn't seem too spooked about it. I think just mostly curious about what it is. I think she's done smelt that dirt. I got my does mixed up. I was thinking one of these does come to my scrape. Here she comes. She's gonna walk straight over to it. She didn't want that other deer to get to it first, I guess. Really, all I did here was just scrape the leaves back and expose some fresh dirt. I put one little drop of Indian butler on one of those limbs above her head, but she seems more interested in my ground scent than anything. She's gonna smell the limb. It's fun when you get them so close you can hear them breathing, inhaling the scent through their nostrils. I like getting this close to deer. It's fun. She's probably thinking right now, that's the biggest dang acorn I ever seen in my life. I don't want that thing falling on me. Well, at least one deer came over there and picked up an acorn or two and bit into them, so wasn't a total loss sitting on an acorn tree. Mostly they're still interested in what's left of the soybeans out there in these fields. That right there is a potential booner. Those does were acting a little bit nervous, started kind of walking away from this corner. I thought, what's over there? And this little 8-point comes stepping out into the field. I guess the girls wanted to put a little distance between him and them. He comes out, he looks a little bit excited. This little buck's done made himself comfortable and he's going to stick around for quite a while. Acts like he ain't got a care in the world. He doesn't know there's an Alabama boy sitting in a tree right above him. tell me this soybean field didn't do very well. It didn't produce a lot of soybeans. I think the reason that these deer are coming to this field more so than some of the other soybean fields is because there's a lot more grass varieties growing in these fields because the soybeans didn't shade it out. And it seems like they're really feeding on it pretty heavy. That and the soybeans that are left.
If we were in Alabama, you would be a dead deer right now.
Time to check on the girls, see if they want to play. Love watching deer do this. Really passes the time when you're got a bunch of deer around you like this. Gets pretty exciting.
I don't like doing anything else. I mean, I like to hunt and fish, but hunting's my favorite.
Yeah. I just hope that you get a big one. If
Me
that's
too.
what you want, I mean.
Well, that's everybody wants a big one, don't they? I could have shot 2 does already, but I can do that at home. I don't get an opportunity to hunt as many big bucks in an area. Bucks like I'm seeing here are far and few between in Alabama.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. I might see 1 or 2 in a year. And usually when I see them, I'm pretty close to them, but something always happens and I don't get a arrow stuck in them. They smell me or they just know I'm there. But we got some, I see a lot of little bucks. I see little bucks all the time, lots of does. But I'm loving this. I'm glad y'all invited me up.
Well, I'll tell you, that place right down there, I don't know, we did. I got it all taken away from me, being a nut again.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's 900 acres in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of land.
And if it has, well, I don't think that you could have any more deer than what's there unless you fix for them. But there's been lots of deer killed right in there.
There's a lot of deer in there.
It's a hard place to hunt, I know, the way it's grown up. But when I left down there, them fields that's grown up was in pasture.
Well, them soybeans are still standing, but they dried out. And the deer's still feeding on the soybeans.
They like them soybeans for some reason, I don't know.
I guess they high in protein, easy to get to.
Yeah.
But the acorns, there's not that many acorns in the woods, and the leaves has covered them up. So when you look for an acorn tree, you got to look for the scuff marks in the leaves, and you're just looking for the acorn cap, laying on top of the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
That way you know you got fresh sign. And I'm finding some of those where they're feeding on acorns. When I slipped out of the woods this morning, I was sneaking up on a doe, and turkeys, I got busted by turkeys. They were scratching, and when the turkeys got all nervous and starting to yelp and run, well, it got the deer nervous, and then it started snorting and ran. I don't know if the deer ever saw me or not, but I could hear it up there eating on acorns. But I looked at that tree where that doe was eating, and it wasn't real hot sign. It just was a little bit of sign, and just one deer feeding on it. So it's scattered. The acorns are real scattered right now. Makes it tough. If you had if I could find a really good hot acorn tree in the right spot, you could just about bank on seeing a lot of deer on it right now. Even that persimmon tree I found, it's got, I counted them, there's 5 persimmons left on it. But there ain't hardly no deer sign under the tree.
Yeah.
There's a tree next to it, and I don't know what kind of tree it is, but the deer are feeding on something that it's dropping. And I've never seen that kind of tree before. I'm going to have to look it up and see if I can figure out what it is. There's some kind of seed, I guess, or something. It ain't got nuts on it. It's not a nut tree, so. But they're feeding under it.
Yeah, big leaves.
It was a huge tree. The tree itself was bigger around than a truck tire. It was a huge, old tree.
In the fence row.
I don't know what the name of it was.
Did you say in the fence row?
Yeah. was it out in the woods or?
It was in the woods, not far from where Ricky's shooting house is. Behind that old shooting house is
The clover field.
the clover field. It used to be a clover field. It's all growed up now.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever have you still not ran across the house that he was born in that's fallen right behind that field? I mean, right down from my field?
No, I hadn't walked. If I go back in there for another morning hunt, that's the direction I'm going to go.